After Robert vanished without a trace and Michael faded into the fog of suspicion and rumors, Clara Davis was left alone, a young woman with a shattered heart and a child she wasn't sure her husband had fathered. She needed to breathe, to escape the shadows of Savannah and the ruins of her name, and so, one morning before the sun kissed the horizon, she packed a single suitcase, held her son close and left for Canada, a land where her past couldn't follow, or so she thought. There, in a city bustling with opportunity, Clara Davis ceased to exist. She became Blossom Cee, a new name, a new life. At first it was pure survival. Blossom worked tables at cafes, folded clothes in back rooms and braided her son's hair in between shifts. Money was tight, loneliness was tighter, but she refused to break. She poured her energy into her boy, a bright, curious soul with eyes like his father's, and a laugh that made strangers turn and smile. They lived in a modest apartment in downtown Toronto, where the winters bit hard, and the neighbors didn't ask questions. And then fate stepped in. It was an ordinary Tuesday. Blossom was doodling designs on a napkin in a quiet cafe after a long shift, tired but calm. A man approached her, tall, with a camera bag slung over his shoulder. "Are you a model?" he asked. She laughed. "Me, no, I'm just drawing dresses I can't afford. Would you let me take your photo?" It was awkward, strange. She almost said no, but something about his energy, casual, creative, harmless, made her nod. That photo session turned into a portfolio. That portfolio turned into an agency contract, and Blossom Cee turned into a name people recognized. Billboards, magazines, runways in Vancouver, Montreal, and even Milan. She was elegance and fire, and her story, though buried, glimmered behind her smile. Her son, now in high school, won a prestigious scholarship to study medicine. He was everything she had hoped he would be, kind, brilliant, unshaken by the weight of their hidden history. For a while, it felt like they'd won. Blossom was on tour with a major fashion brand, and had been assigned a personal driver for her 2-week stay. Phil was warm, charismatic, and dangerously chatty. She didn't mind, at first. He had stories for days, strange clients, drunk celebrities, near-death winter drives. He filled the air with noise and she let him, until one story silenced everything. "You ever have a client offer you money to do something shady?" he asked one evening. Blossom smiled faintly. "What kind of shady?" He chuckled, then paused. "There was this guy once, a real smooth type, paid me triple to help him set up a lady, told me what hotel, what time. His friends, I believed at the time, spiked a lady's drink, and when she was unconscious he slept with her, then told me to stay in bed with her until she gets up." Blossom's blood turned cold. She couldn't breathe. Where was this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Savannah. Maybe 10-11 years ago, Hotel Brighton, room 316. Room 316. The room she woke up in, half-dressed, confused, ruined. She froze, eyes wide with disbelief. For a moment, it felt like the world stopped, like she was trapped in a nightmare she'd already lived. Then she whispered, her voice trembling but sharp, "That woman, it was me." Phil slammed the brakes, the car jerking to a halt. He turned to her, his face pale and stunned. "You're joking, right? This has to be a joke." Blossom affirmed she was the one. Phil, shocked and feeling guilty as well, started apologizing. I'm sorry, I didn't know, I swear, I didn't even want to do it, but the money was." "Who was the man?" she asked. He hesitated, then said the name. "Robert. Not Michael. Not the brother she'd blamed, hated, cursed in silence for years. Her own husband. He set her up, staged the scene, took the photo, and vanished. Her world unraveled, again. She offered Phil money to spill everything. The last time he saw Robert's last contact info and location. Phil drove Blossom to her hotel. She sat facing the window that night. "So, my son's father is Robert," she whispered, "and he knew all along he abandoned us anyway." The betrayal took on a new shape, a deeper sting. She couldn't let it rest. Blossom hired private investigators, professionals. They found Robert in Asheville, North Carolina. He hadn't gone far, hadn't changed his name. He was comfortable. She packed her bags, flew down, alone. The house was modest, warm even. It angered her, that someone like him could sleep soundly. She was about to knock when the door opened. Mia. Her best friend, or so she'd thought. In pajamas, hair tied up, no surprise on her face, no shame, just a cold smile and a shrug. "Didn't expect you to come here," she said, walking past. "Mia?" But Mia didn't stop. She didn't look back, just disappeared into the mist. And in that moment, Blossom knew. Mia had been part of it. The betrayal, the setup, maybe even the framing of Michael. Her hands balled into fists. Then Robert stepped out. Older, sharper, empty. They didn't hug, no greetings, just silence. He gestured toward a chair. "I always knew you'd come back," he said. Blossom stared, waiting. "You and Michael," he said flatly. Before we met, you never told me." She flinched. "You played me for a fool, both of you. We weren't. Don't lie." His voice was bitter, final. "I wanted to break you, both of you, so I did. I set Michael up, had him arrested, falsified evidence. He's been in prison for 13 years. Blossom gasped. "You destroyed your own brother." "He wasn't my brother, not after what he did." "And me, what did I do?" "You loved him, even if you didn't mean to, and you didn't tell me, so I made you pay." His voice never rose, but the rage beneath was volcanic. "I was a monster, maybe, but I didn't lie first." Blossom stood, her heart in pieces. There was nothing left to say. She left there and went back to Canada. She cried for days. In the dark, alone, remembering every smile she once believed was real. Robert was evil, but Mia, Michael, had she failed them too? Then the rage returned. She couldn't undo the past, but she could rewrite the ending. Blossom contacted the kind of people whose names weren't listed anywhere, people who didn't ask why. She gave them names, photos, a location. One rainy night, the job was done. Robert and Mia drugged, unconscious. Their house consumed by flames. News reports called it a tragic accident. Blossom called it justice. She didn't celebrate, she didn't smile. But the nightmares stopped. Years passed, the world moved on. Blossom shifted her energy to real estate. She became a titan in the industry, building towers across skylines she once only dreamed of seeing. Her son graduated with honors, became a doctor, a healer, one who never knew the full extent of what it took to get him there. And Blossom, she lived, she thrived. But some nights when the world was quiet, she'd lie awake and wonder, was there ever a version of the story where love had been enough? Or were some wounds carved too deep? What do you think? Was Blossom right to take revenge? Or did she become the very monster she was running from? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Voice of Echo.